Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Words of Wisdom, aka Words of Wisdom, and welcome back to another challenge video. So recently, while flying back from Rome, I was actually playing Pokémon Emerald on my cell phone. While battling my way through all the trainers in Pokémon Emerald to watch the Pokémon League, I actually got an idea for a new challenge. It's common knowledge that you can defeat the entire game by only using your starter. But this got me thinking. What if you only use your starter, but you battle the least amount of trainers possible? How far can you actually get in this game? Before we get into it, let me go over the rules. The rules this time are pretty simple. The rules are basically anything goes. Health items, proteins, that kind of stuff, rare candies, whatever, anything goes. There are only two rules. Rule number 1. I cannot actually fight and defeat wild Pokemon because that will give me XP and it will make the challenge way too easy. Rule number 2. Whenever I get defeated by a trainer, I have to reload my previous save state because obviously whenever I battle a trainer with 2 Pokemon and I defeat the first one but go down against his second Pokemon, I would have already gained experience from his first Pokemon and thus I would be able to farm experience that way. Those are the only two rules. It's that simple, anything goes. So that being said, let's fucking go. So I didn't really have a starter I preferred, I decided to just random it. And the first available Pokemon was Trico. And I thought, because most people actually hate picking Trico as a starter, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give you some love. And thus I picked Trico. And technically the first battle is against a wild Pokemon. But it's a battle you actually have to win in order to continue with this game. So I didn't count this as a wild battle. Also, I'm sorry for sounding a little different in this video. I'm actually sick and I keep coughing. So it's not a pleasure for me and it won't be a pleasure for you. So I do actually apologize. So during this challenge my goal was to pick up as many random items as possible in order to either use them or sell them for money. So I was able to buy potions. Because I was only battling a certain amount of trainers, I would not be able to obtain much money from battling these trainers. And thus these random TMs, HMs, whatever item, they were really valuable to me. So this is where I have to admit that I was kind of cheating a little bit, because I actually googled a list of items per route. And what this does is basically speed up the process. I know where the items are, but technically it's not cheating, because otherwise I probably would have found them randomly anyway by clicking everywhere. This just saves a lot of time, so I'm sorry for cheating, but it's not really cheating, it just saves time. So then we arrived at our first battle. Our first battle in the game is actually against our rival. And Brandon as a Torchic, because you obviously picked Trico. I bought some safety potions just in case, and I actually had to use 2 of them, because otherwise Torchic would have defeated me. But in the end, Brandon wasn't that much of a challenge, and I leveled up to level 6. And I learned Absorb, which is actually a useful move at this level in my opinion. After this I went on my way to Battle City, and I had to battle one trainer which was actually impossible to avoid, so I gained some experience from that. And after doing my duties in Battleburg, which includes Wally's sketching tutorial, I moved on to Rustboro City. So this is where my cheating came in play, as you can see right here. On this beach there are a couple of hidden items, like this heart skill and this potion. But like I said, I would have found those either way. I just used this list to speed up the process a little bit. After defeating the unavoidable Magma member in the Battleburg Woods and avoiding everyone else on our way to Rustboro City, we arrived at the Pokémon Mart in Rustboro City. And the reason I want to highlight this is because this shop actually sells items we are gonna be using in this entire run. So this shop sells X speeds, which aren't really necessary, but the 2 important ones are the bottom 2. X attacks and X defense. If you're not aware of the effects of X attacks and X defense or any X item, they raise your stats in battle by 1 stage. So I bought a bunch of these and I moved on to the first gym battle, Roxann. The design of Roxann's gym allows you to avoid all trainers and move straight to Roxann. So because of this, I had to defeat a level 14 Geodude with a level 8 Trico. And despite being 6 levels lower, this Geodude didn't stand a chance against my Trico. 2 absorbs and he was down immediately, and I actually leveled up to level 10. Then, Roxann's second Pokemon was a Nosepass, which turned out to be a bigger problem than this Geodude. This Nosepass had the move Rock Tomb, and Rock Tomb did 18 health to me. And you're probably like, 18 health isn't that much. Well, it is when your maximum amount of health is 30. Plus its second move, Rock Throw, also did 19 health out of 30. Despite using potions etc, 2 moves and I was KO'd regardless. So after trying this battle a couple more times and getting KO'd in each and every one of them, I realized I was being an absolute idiot. I just explained I bought these X defense, right? Why wasn't I using them? After I realized this, I felt really stupid and I decided to try this battle once again. This time actually using the X defense I bought. After using the free X defense I bought earlier, Nospaz was only able to do 9 damage to my Trico, and I was able to easily absorb his ass to death. Nospaz gave me 346 experience points, and I was actually able to level up to level 12, learning quick attack in the process at level 11. Defeating Roxann gave me the move Rock Tomb, and I did not hesitate to teach this to my Trico, because I thought it was a very powerful move. So after avoiding every possible trainer on my way to this guy, we arrived at the Verdant Turf Tunnel, where we had to defeat this Team Magma member who stole Mr. Briny's Wingull. This guy only had a level 11 Puchena, and it was basically free experience for me. So I thank you for that, my friend. After giving Briny back his Wingull, he was kind enough to bring us to Durfort Town, where our second gym battle was waiting for us. In this gym there's a trainer you can't actually avoid, which I didn't mind because at this point I needed every experience point I could get. After a rather difficult battle against a level 14 Magneton, I actually leveled up to level 13, and I thought level 13 was more than enough to defeat Brawly, the gym leader of this Durfort gym. Brawly's first Pokemon is a level 17 Machop, and I was so wrong about being able to do this. My absorbers were able to do jack shit, and on top of that, his seismic toss did more than half HP, and his karate chop did 20 HP out of 36. Even if I got a crit on my absorb and I was able to defeat this Machop, I would be fucked against his second Pokemon regardless. Before I left Rosboro, I was able to buy 2 more X defense with the less amounts of money I got, and I tried to use them against this Machop so he wasn't able to KO me with his karate chops. But then he revealed a move that would make my life miserable. This Machop had the move Bulk Up, and as I explained earlier, Bulk Up raises your attack and defense state by 1. So basically all those X defense didn't matter. With 1 Bulk Up he could negate that effect completely and just KO my ass. How was I gonna be able to get out of this situation? I kept trying this battle over and over again to maybe have some luck, to maybe have him not use Bulk Up for once. But every time I used an X defense, the NPC just reacts to it and it uses Bulk Up to negate its effect and just destroy me. So I had to go back to the drawing board. Surely this wasn't where the challenge would end already. It's the second gym. So then an idea came to mind. I knew I was gonna be able to obtain Flash in the Granite Cave from the hiker that's just waiting near the entrance for some reason. I thought if I just use Flash on this Machop, I can make him start missing and I can actually set up in order to defeat not only this Machop, but Brawly's second Pokemon as well. Machop indeed started missing some of his karate chops, but his accuracy simply wasn't lowered enough to make him miss every time. And whenever he did get a hit in, I still got completely destroyed. Flash got me some positive results, but it simply wasn't enough. Then I realized, by delivering the letter to Steven in the Granite Cave, Mr. Briny would actually take me to Slateport City, where part of the story would continue, which meant more unavoidable trainers to battle. These unavoidable trainers would give me some extra experience, and after that I could go back and challenge Brawly at a higher level. After avoiding everyone on Slateport Beach, I arrived at the museum where I had to battle 2 more Team Magma members because they wanted parts that were actually in this museum and I was standing in their way. So this battle, just like Brawly's battle, turned out to be a problem. The first Team Magma member used a Numel, and this Numel had the move Ember, which did at least 19 HP and maybe even more. My absorbs were only doing about 15% damage. This Numel was also impossible to defeat at this stage. So I was clueless. I couldn't defeat Brawly and I wasn't able to continue the story in Slateport City. I was officially stuck. Then I decided to look at my items list and I found 2 really useful things to obtain. I went back to the Petalburg Woods, I went to the right and obtained the Miracle Seed. What a Miracle Seed does, it slightly boosts your grass attacks, and because I'm obviously a grass type Pokemon, this is a really useful item. Then I went a little bit further towards Rosboro City, and I talked to this guy that gave me the move Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed is a very powerful move, especially if it hits 5 times in a row, and thus, combined with a Miracle Seed, this was gonna be a deadly duo. I went back to the Slateport Museum, and I decided to challenge the guy with the Numel again. And this time, Bullet Seed plus the Miracle Seed were indeed my solution to every problem I had at this point. I defeated the Numel with ease, and I was able to move on to the second Team Magma member. The second Team Magma member had a level 14 Zubat, which actually had Leech Life. But Zubat isn't a very strong Pokemon, and thus it only did 9 HP damage. My Rock Tomb, however, did more than half HP, and it wasn't a problem at all. Then this guy's second Pokemon was a Numel as well, and just like the Numel of his friend before this battle, it was a walk in the park now that I obtained Bullet Seed and the Miracle Seed. And I was convinced I was gonna be able to defeat Brawly this time. I took one last trip to Rosboro, got a couple more X defense, so I had 6 X defense, and challenged Brawly again. I used the majority of my X defense to counter his bulk ups, combined with using Flash to lower his accuracy, and I was able to defeat his Machop after spamming a couple of Bullet Seeds. His second Pokemon was a level 18 Makuhita, and I admit I got super lucky against this Pokemon because he actually missed a couple of his Arm Thrust, which would have 100% killed me. But I was actually able to defeat this guy on my first try by using a couple Bullet Seeds. Like I said, I got super lucky by him missing a couple Arm Thrusts and me getting the second highest amount of Bullet Seed hits to close out this battle. A win is a win. I don't care about getting lucky. I was just glad I was finally able to defeat this guy because it took me way too damn long. To make things even better, the experience from this Makuhita got me to level 16 and Trico turned into a Grovyle. This evolution would significantly boost my stats, and I was likely able to at least put up a good fight against my rival on my way to Mauville City. On top of that, my Grovyle learned Fury Cutter, but I decided to ditch it because I was satisfied with my current moveset. So before challenging my rival, I bought 3 X attacks with the money I still had left over, and on top of that I decided to buy a Dire Hit and the Guard Spec. I wouldn't be using the Guard Spec in this battle, but I would be using the Dire Hit, which raises the critical hit ratio during one battle, and thus would make it easier for me to defeat this guy. Then I went to my rival, who was still patiently waiting for me to walk by. I noticed a huge flaw in this guy's team. This guy had a Water type lead against a Grass type Pokemon, and he didn't bother switching out whatsoever. So after setting up, his Wilmer didn't stand a chance whatsoever, and his Combusken came out. I was still scared because my Grovyle was only level 17 and this Combusken was level 20. But then I saw my Rock Tomb doing plenty of damage due to the +3 attack, and I was actually able to defeat this Combusken. Granted that I got a little bit lucky with the Rock Tomb crit at the end, because he would have likely KO'd me with his second Ember. His last Pokemon was Shroomish, and it only took me 1 Rock Tomb and a quick attack critical hit to defeat this guy, but let's be honest, what was a Shroomish gonna do against a level 18 Grovyle anyway? This just sped up the process. Having defeated my rival, I moved on to Mauville City, where I had to defeat Wally because he was simply blocking the gym for no apparent reason. Wally only has a Ralts, and I'm still not sure why he felt the need to challenge me because he was gonna be defeated regardless, but after just using 2 Bullet Seeds it was already over for him. Then I went into the gym. 2 of the trainers in this gym are unavoidable, and after defeating those 2 with ease, I challenged Watson with a level 20 Grovyle. Watson had a bunch of electric type Pokemon which weren't actually able to hurt me, but then again I wasn't actually able to hurt them either. And because of this, I wasn't able to defeat Watson at this point because my moves simply weren't doing enough damage. After attempting this battle once, I checked my item list and I noticed that I was actually able to obtain a rare candy in the Granite Cave. So I went back to the Granite Cave, obtained my rare candy, leveled Grovyle up to level 21, and I decided to teach Rock Smash to Grovyle to at least do some damage against Watson's Magnemite and later on his Magneton. Then last but not least, I went back to Rosboro City. I bought 6 X attacks to use in this battle to make the weak move Rock Smash a little better, and then I challenged Watson again. After setting up to +6 attack, I used Rock Smash on his level 22 Magnemite, and I was honestly shocked to see it only doing a little bit more than half HP damage to this Magnemite. But hey, at least it was more than Bullet Seed or Rock Tomb were previously doing, so I was satisfied enough. After defeating his Magnemite, he sent out a level 20 Voltorb. This Voltorb wasn't a challenge at all. He used 1 Rock Tomb and 1 Rock Smash, and that was the end of Voltorb. Then he sent out the biggest problem in this battle, his Magneton. Obviously, because this is the evolved version of Magnemite, this guy was gonna have way better defense and way better attack stats. A +6 Rock Smash wasn't even able to do anything close to half HP damage to this guy. Luckily, Rock Smash has a nice little side effect. It has a 50% chance to lower your opponent's defense stats by 1. And this is essentially what made me win this battle. Because Rock Smash lowered his defense stats, my Rock Smashes were able to do more than half HP damage. And I was able to KO him pretty easily after that. After having to battle one more trainer on my way, I arrived at the mountain chimney, where I had to defeat a bunch of Team Magma members and their leader. After easily defeating his goons along the way, I challenged Maxi. So before arriving at the mountain chimney, I bought some X specials in Caliber Town, because that's the first place where they're selling X specials. And this would really help me, because it would make my bullet seeds really strong. Maxi led off with a Mighty Anna, so this is where the guard spec would come into play. Because Mighty Anna used Sand Attack, which lowered my accuracy by 1 stage. Guard specs prevent any stat from being lowered, and thus it would really help me in setting up against this Mighty Anna. So after setting up my X specials, X attacks and my dire hit, Mighty Anna wasn't a challenge at all, and neither was his second Pokemon, Camerupt. Both of them couldn't handle the bullet seeds I was throwing at them, simply because my attack stats were just way too high. But then we got to his Golbat, and this Golbat was a pain in the ass. Golbat used Wing Attack, and it actually one-shot me. So I knew what needed to be done. I needed to get a Rock Tomb crit instantly, otherwise I would be dead myself. So I just decided to keep trying until the inevitable happened. But then something else happened. He got the lowest possible damage roll on his wing attack and I was left with 5 HP. After which I was easily able to Rock Tomb his ass and claim victory. Then we moved on to the part where I thought this challenge would inevitably end. Flannery's Fire type Gym. I knew Flannery's signature move was Overheat, which is a 130 power attack, which would 100% one-shot me if it hit. But this challenge required me to think out of the box, and I actually got an idea. Overheat might be a very powerful attack, but it only has 5 PP. If I was able to stall out those 5 PP by using Flash and making Overheat miss, I was gonna be able to set up for her other Pokemon and actually win this battle. And that's exactly what happened. She led off with a level 26 Slugma, which instantly started using Overheats. I had to reset a couple of times in order for this to work, but at some point I was able to use enough Flashes to make this Slugma miss every Overheat it had. And these NPCs aren't programmed to play smart and thus switch out into another Pokemon that has Overheat. The Slugma just stayed in, allowing me to use 6 X attacks to boost my Rock Tomb, which is super effective against these Pokemon. And I was also able to use my Dire Hit to make it more likely for me to crit these guys. So because Overheat was a flawed move, I was given a chance in this battle. Her first Slugma was KO'd by 1 Rock Tomb and her second Slugma was also KO'd by 1 Rock Tomb. But then I got to her last Pokemon, Torkoal, which is such a bulky Pokemon. Even at +6 attack, I was only able to do a little more than half HP damage to this Torkoal. And this Torkoal obviously also had Overheat because that's this gym's signature move and I was instantly knocked out. However, this didn't stop me. I knew I just had to bank on this Torkoal missing 1 single Overheat and then victory would be mine. So I knew Overheat doesn't have a perfect accuracy. It has an accuracy of 90, which means it has a 10% chance to miss. So all I had to do at this point was wait for this 10% to happen. But then again, things didn't go as planned. And I didn't get the 10%, I just got a lucky Rock Tomb crit, which instantly KO'd the Torkoal. And victory was mine. Before starting this challenge, I thought this was where the challenge was gonna end, because Overheat is such a powerful move which just one-shots me. But because Overheat only has 5 PP, 90% accuracy and is thus a flawed move, I was able to exploit this and defeat a Fire Gym with an under-leveled Grovyle. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty proud of myself. So after this I really started to pick up the pace and I went to Petalburg City to challenge my dad, who is the 5th gym leader. So in order to get to your dad, you have to battle a couple of trainers. And after doing just that, gaining some experience in the process, I challenged my dad. And time again I wonder why my dad is even the 5th gym leader, because he fucking sucks. So Dad, Norman, whatever the fuck you wanna call him, he leads off with a Slacking. And the nice thing about Slacking is his ability Truant, which makes him attack every other turn. So in the turns when he was loafing around, I was able to set up my X defense, X attacks and X specials. And I wiped out Norman's entire team in just 1 try. Dad, you're really weak, you know that? After this, on our road to gym number 6, we had to clear the Weather Institute first, which was basically free experience for me, like Team Magma is never a challenge in any run. And then we arrived at our next battle against our rival. This dumbass clearly didn't learn from our last battle near Slateport City, because once again he led off with his Wilmer, which allowed me to set up my X attacks, X defense, attack specials, and wipe out his entire team in just a matter of seconds really. After defeating these inferior trainers, I decided to play it safe and skip gym number 6 for the time being, because I was allowed to go to Lilikov City, because it was technically allowed to go there already. On the way to Lilikov City you come across Mount Empire, Team Magma's next location. They're doing something along the lines of obtaining a red orb or blue orb for Groudon or Kyogre, but it doesn't really matter, I was just thinking about the free experience. This decision turned out to be really fruitful, because battling these Team Magma members made Grovyle level up to level 36 and evolve into the magnificent creature that is Sceptile. Then I went to Lilikov City, because Lilikov City had something I needed. After the third gym, I started realizing I wasn't using Rock Smash anymore and there was no real reason to have it anymore. I just figured I didn't need Rock Smash anymore and I was better off replacing it with something more useful. And because Rock Smash is an HM move, this was the only way to successfully delete it. Then I figured it was time to challenge the 6th gym leader, Wynonna. Even though this gym is essentially a flying type gym, I already found a way to exploit it. So this gym is a flying type gym, and in Generation 3 there are no physical and special attack splits. Every flying move in this game is physical. On top of that, even if there was a special attack / physical attack split, the signature move in this gym is Aerial Ace, which is a physical attack in every generation. And thus the way I approached this was very simple. I just let her flying type Pokemon use Aerial Ace on me while I set up my +6 defense and +6 attack. And after that a +6 Rock Tomb one-hit KO'd everyone besides her Skarmory, which is an absolute tank, because even at +6 Rock Tomb wasn't even able to do 50% damage. But then again the Skarmory couldn't touch me either, so it was more of a stall war than anything else. And thus I obtained my 6th gym badge. After clearing the annoying Team Aqua hideout near Lilikov City, I moved on to Moss Deep City, where I had to battle Liza and Tate. And this is where me and my fast pace abruptly ran into a wall. After battling a few unavoidable trainers in the gym, I got to Liza and Tate. In this battle, Liza and Tate are only using a single Solrock and a single Lunaton, no other Pokemon. So you're probably like, okay, this should be easy then. Lunaton and Solrock, 2 rock types and you're a grass type. This is the easiest battle so far, right? Yeah, that's not completely true. The creators of this game thought about their grass and water type weakness as well, and thus they gave the Solrock Sunny Day, Solar Beam and Flamethrower. Solar Beam to get rid of water types and Flamethrower to get rid of my Sceptile. In the sun, Solar Beam hits instantly instead of charging one turn, and fire type moves get an attack boost in the sun. On top of that, the signature move in this gym is Calm Mind, which raises your special attack and special defense stat by 1. And because there are no X special defense in this game, there's no way to counter this. He can just boost his stats and there's nothing I can really do about it. So I really don't have the time to set up my own X attacks or X specials. So I tried this battle a couple of times, and if Solrock didn't use Sunny Day combined with Flamethrower to instantly KO me, then his Lunaton would just Calm Mind up and use Psychic, which also instantly KO'd me. Even when I got a little bit lucky and Solrock wasn't setting up Sunny Day, Lunaton wasn't Calm Minding, they'd still tag team on me and just completely own me. If you're wondering why I'm using a Nincada in this battle, it's simply because I'm not allowed to challenge Liza and Tate with one Pokemon in my party. There has to be a second Pokemon involved. It was at this point I decided to go for the ultimate pussy tactic. Somewhere on this journey I picked up the TM Double Team. Double Team raises your evasion stat by 1, and I decided, you know what, this is more effective than Flash because it only affects one Pokemon. If I double team up, both of them will start missing a lot more. I hate to be that kind of guy, but I felt like this was the only move that could save my ass in this battle. The results weren't there immediately. I still got KO'd by them a couple of times, but I knew it was only a matter of time before they would start missing and I was able to set up a little bit. I got to a point where I was able to double team up to +6 evasion. I used a Dire Hit, 2 X specials, while hoping the other Pokemon that I wasn't targeting would miss their move. And they did. I KO'd Lunaton first because I thought the Calm Mind plus Psychic combo was more deadly than Solrock, because Solrock's Flamethrower without Sun didn't actually one-shot me. Lunaton got KO'd by my +2 Bullet Seed, and Solrock's flamethrower missed, and I knew this was my chance. This is the moment where I just had to take the win over these girls. So I threw another bullet seed at Solrock, got a crit in the process because of the dire hit, and got a really lucky 5 hit on the bullet seed, which is the maximum amount possible. And I obtained my 7th gym badge. Then I moved on to the underwater cave, where Maxi, Team Magma's leader, would attempt to control Groudon. I had to defeat one extra Team Magma member on my way there, which I couldn't avoid. Maxi failed to control Groudon. Then he got mad at me for some reason and he decided to challenge me. Just like in the previous battle, Maxi led off with his Mightyena. Maxi for some reason predicted my double team / setup strat, and he taught his Mightyena Roar, so he could simply just roar me away while I was trying to set up. Which was really goddamn annoying because I knew his second Pokemon was gonna be a Crobat, which would basically one-shot me if I didn't set up. I tried setting up a couple of times, but Mightyena was smart enough to roar me away just in time every time, so I decided it was impossible to fully set up. Because of this, I was only able to double team twice and use one X special. And after that I just decided the risk was too high and I needed to kill this Mightyena before he'd roar me away again. And like I said, after this Mightyena he'd bring out a Crobat. This Crobat had the moves Air Cutter and Wing Attack, which both killed about 80% of my HP bar, and I knew the only way to do this was bank on my -2 evasion of my double teams and just hope for him to miss. And man oh man, did I get lucky in this battle. Crobat took me down to 25 HP with his first wing attack, and I decided it was completely useless to potion up because he was faster than me anyway, so if I'd potion up and he'd hit me again, I'd be back where I started, except I wasted the potion. It was at this point that I just decided to YOLO it and use Rock Tomb, hoping that he'd miss his wing attack or air cutter and I'd get a Rock Tomb off, which as a bonus also lowered his speed by 1 stage. And the funniest thing is, I was lucky enough to get this on my first try against this Crobat. He missed his wing attack, I got a Rock Tomb off. After that I felt safe enough to potion up and hope for another miss, but then something really convenient happened. For some reason this NPC Maxi, even though his Crobat was more than half HP from my Rock Tomb, decided to use a Super Potion in the same turn that I used my Hyper Potion. Because of this I was able to get another Rock Tomb buff, which ultimately made me faster than his Crobat. Then as the icing on the cake, when I used another Hyper Potion, he missed another wing attack. And this got me in a position where I could easily KO the Crobat and move on to his final Pokemon, Camerupt. I wasn't really afraid of Camerupt because I knew from previous experiences that he didn't have any good fire type move and I was easily able to KO him with my bullet seeds. With Maxi and his dumbass team out of the way, I moved on to Stopolis City, where I needed to battle Groudon before I was able to enter the 8th gym. This is where I made a minor mistake. I broke my own rule of not defeating wild Pokemon, and in the heat of the moment I just decided to slay Groudon because I thought it was funny. So it doesn't really change the outcome of this run, but it's technically breaking my own rules and I'm sorry for that. But killing Groudon was definitely worth it, so sorry not sorry. Then I challenged the 8th gym leader, Wallace. The 8th gym is a water type gym and thus was a walk in the park for Sceptile. Even though he led off with an annoying ass Love Disc, which used Attract and Sweet Kiss to make my life miserable. I was able to set up with ease because Love Disc's only attacking move was Water Pulse. I set up to +6 special attack and used Bullet Seed to wipe out every single Pokemon he had, even as bulky as Milotic, and I claimed the final badge of this run. It was time to move on to the Pokémon League. I had no idea there were so many unskippable trainers in Victory Road. But hey, free experience is free experience, right? And just when I thought I cleared it, Wally felt the need to challenge me, even though my Sceptile was already weakened from all the battles in Victory Road. So I decided to whoop his ass like I always do, and I arrived at the Pokémon League at almost level 45. Even with skipping every possible trainer on the road to Pokémon League, I still managed to get a Sceptile that was level 45. That's just how easy this game really is. But at this point the question was, is level 45 enough to defeat all of the Elite Four, plus our favorite league leader, Steven? So before attempting to challenge the Pokémon League, I decided to find every possible item on the map first, sell them and buy items I needed. So I ended up with 3 rare candies, 19 energy roots, 6 dire hits, 31 X specials, 34 X attacks and 30 X defense. So you're probably wondering why these random ass numbers. Well, I got 6 dire hits because I wanted to have enough for 5 battles at least. I got 30 plus X specials, X attacks and X defense simply because there are 5 battles and I wanted to use 6 in every battle if I needed to. With the money I had left I bought energy roots and I figured 19 was plenty to defeat this Pokemon League. After that I decided to challenge the first of the Elite Four, Sydney. Just like Maxie, Sydney led off with a Mightyena. Except this Mightyena didn't have Roar, but it did have the annoying ass attack, Sand Attack. The weird thing about this battle though, is that Mightyena didn't really know what he wanted. There were certain tries where he just kept spamming Takedown, and there were certain tries where he just kept spamming Sand Attack. It didn't really make any sense. In some of the battles he wouldn't use Sand Attack at all, and in some of the battles he would use Sand Attack until I was -6 accuracy. And because of this weird ass NPC programming, I was able to take advantage of this, and thus I was able to use plenty of X defense, X attacks and X specials. I decided this was more than enough and I started bullet seeding his entire team down. Mightyena wasn't the problem, neither was his Absol, but after that he sent out a Cacturne. And Cacturne is a grass type Pokemon, so my bullet seeds wouldn't have any effect, and thus I was forced to use Rock Tomb instead. I was shocked to see Rock Tomb not doing anything to this guy, and I already knew this was gonna be a long, dreadful battle. Not that this Cacturne was a problem in terms of health, because he couldn't hurt me either, but I knew it was just prolonging the inevitable. After finally KOing this annoying ass Cacturne, he sent out a Sharpedo, which I was obviously able to KO with just a single bullet seed, and I was easily able to take care of his final Pokemon Shift, which couldn't stand more than 3 Rock Tombs. Then this is the part where I made a mistake in recording this video, for which I do apologize. I forgot to record the battle against the second Elite Four, Phoebe. What happened in this battle was of importance though. Phoebe leads off with a Dusclops, and this Dusclops has the move Curse, which lowers Dusclops' HP by half, but in return he puts a curse on me, which takes 25% of my health every turn. This made it impossible for me to set up against this Dusclops. I tried using Double Team, I tried using Flash to lower his accuracy and upgrade my evasion, but both his Shadow Punches and Curses didn't seem affected by those moves. They just seemed to maintain their 100% accuracy, and I just started to get so pissed off. I tried that battle for literally a couple of hours, and that Dusclops didn't miss a single move, no matter how many times I used Flash or Double Team. I figured this battle was impossible this way, and I started thinking of ways to actually be able to do this. Then I thought of something that would potentially be able to help me. In Verdant Turf Town, in the contest hall, there is this lovely lady who gives you the move Attract. And Attract is a really annoying move, because when a Pokemon is affected by Attract, it has a 50% chance of not being able to hit its move at all. Throughout this run I had been pathetic enough to use Flash and Double Team to my advantage already, so I wasn't pathetic enough to use Attract to my advantage as well. I went back to the Pokemon League, whooped Sydney's ass again, and decided to try this tactic against Phoebe. This pathetic tactic actually worked. Her Dusclops got immobilized by lava plenty of times, which allowed me to set up my X specials. After this I didn't need to worry about any Pokemon in her team anymore, and I was easily able to bullet seed every single one of them to death. I still can't believe this dumbass plan actually worked, and I feel really gross for using this honestly. Then I moved on to the third member of the Elite Four, Gloria, which is an Ice type trainer. This is where my tactic became even more pathetic than it already was. I used Attract on the Glalie, which was then immobilized by lava 4 times in a row, which allowed me to use 1 X attack and 3 Rock Tombs, and Glalie was KO'd. But it didn't end there. After this she sent out a Celio. I used Attract once again. And believe it or not, after this the Celio was immobilized by lava 4 times in a row as well, just like the Glalie, which allowed me to become even more pathetic by double teaming 3 times and making me basically unhittable. And like I said, the chances of a Pokemon being immobilized by lava are 50% every turn, and thus this happening 4 times in a row to 2 different Pokemon is very unlikely. That doesn't mean I wasn't happy that it happened though, because now I was actually gonna be able to defeat this Ice type trainer with ease. After these 3 double teams and Tercelio still being in love with me, I decided to just start setting up my X attacks and X specials. I maxed out my X specials, used a dire hit, and then I was able to easily bullet seed all of her Pokemon to death. The only hard part in this battle was setting up, but my pathetic tactic of using double team and Attract together got me through this battle with ease honestly. Then we arrived at the last of the Elite Four, Drake. For some reason Drake leads off with a really pathetic Shellgun who has Protect, Dragon Claw, Rock Tomb and Dragon Breath, and thus isn't able to hurt me at all. Long story short, I double teamed up, which made it even more unlikely he was going to KO me. I set up my X specials and my X attacks, after which none of his team really stood a chance. Rock Tomb pretty much took out everyone, even the almighty Salamence. The only Pokemon I didn't want to KO with Rock Tomb was Flygon, simply because it was partially a ground type and Rock Tomb wouldn't have any effect on it. But then again, because it's partly a ground type, Bullet Seed was gonna do neutral damage, and with my X specials I was easily able to get rid of Flygon within a couple of seconds. Then we moved on to the final battle of this video, what was supposed to be the hardest battle of this video. The champion and one of my favorite characters in every Pokemon game ever, Steven. But this battle, what was supposed to be one of the hardest in the game, because he has the highest leveled Pokemon in the game so far, turned out to be a really anticlimactic battle. The only real difficult part about this battle was setting up, because he led off with a Skarmory, which had the moves Aerial Ace and Toxic. Despite me double teaming up, some of his Toxics came through, and he got lucky with a couple Aerial Ace crits, so I had to reset a couple of times, but at some point his luck finally ran out. He didn't Toxic me, he didn't Aerial Ace crit me, and I was able to set up my +6 attack and +6 special attack. After which his Skarmory, Cradily, Armaldo, Claydol and Aggron didn't stand a chance against either my Rock Tombs or my Bullet Seed. The only difficult Pokemon in this battle was Metagross, because both Bullet Seed and Rock Tomb were not very effective against this guy. But then again, he's a physical attacker, and after using a couple of X defense he wasn't able to hurt me at all. So it was a bit of a stall war, but this Metagross wasn't necessarily a problem, it just delayed the battle. And thus, after only a couple of tries, I had defeated Steven, and I actually completed this challenge. Applause, please. That's the No Trainer challenge for you all. This challenge was easier than expected. This just really shows how easy these Pokemon games are, and it shows that they are really made for children. I avoided every possible trainer and I was still able to end up with a level 45 Sceptile when I got to the Pokemon League. Even with doing the minimal amount of effort, I was still able to get my Sceptile almost up to the level of the Elite Four. After completing this challenge, I was wondering, shouldn't I have banned X items because they really enhanced my stats by a fuck ton? And then I was like, no, if I did that, then the challenge would have failed 100% because my stats are simply too low. Even with using those X items, I still barely got through some fights. Remembered Brawly, remembered Liza and Tate, etc. I definitely needed those items, and without those items, I definitely wouldn't have been able to complete this challenge. I mean, just look at the speedrunners. They have higher Pokemon than me when they get to the Pokemon League. They're about level 50 to 55 and they also need X items to complete it. So do I regret using those X items? Kinda. But did I need them? Most definitely. Something else to note is that in these challenges I really use items and moves that I usually don't use in any Pokemon game ever. Like, who puts Attract or Double Team or Flash on a Sceptile? No one. This just really brings out the different aspects of the game and makes you appreciate them even more. I think that's the main reason why I like doing these challenges. Other than that, despite this being a quote-unquote easy challenge, this challenge still took me like 20 hours because of the resetting, because of thinking about tactics, what to use, what items to get, to basically get past difficult battles. But it still was a way easier challenge than my Sunkern challenge. And I mean, it really shows because I failed the Sunkern challenge and I didn't fail this one. Then one final thing. Before everyone starts bitching about me killing Groudon and that maybe would have altered the outcome of this challenge, I highly doubt that. Groudon didn't even give me a lot of experience, and I can guarantee you I would have been the same level as I am now if I didn't kill Groudon. So did I break the rules? Yes, I definitely did. Did it matter? Hell no, I still would have fucking stomped Steven any day of the week. That being said, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Both playing and editing was an amazing fucking experience, even though it took me ages again. Just like the Sunkern challenge. If you liked this video, then definitely leave a like rating. If you liked it even more, then definitely hit that subscribe button. And maybe share it with your friends who also like Pokemon, I don't fucking know. Also, I appreciate the views on the Sunkern video. It randomly started getting some traction like the previous month. I got 30 views on it, which is a lot for this channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this one as well. If you're watching this and you've actually gotten to the end of the video, which I highly doubt, maybe leave a challenge in the comments down below, which I can do next. Because I'm down for anything really, because Pokemon is fucking amazing. So yeah, I thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you in the next challenge. Later.